great to be here in Los Angeles, California. We had a lot of fun. Thanks to, and I forget the guy's name, thanks to the guy who made that masterclass clip, which I posted on YouTube. If you listened to the last podcast, I spent a fair amount of time illuminating the grift that is masterclass, this scam where essentially they get people that you love and respect and admire. They get geniuses to come and con you in your own home through YouTube. It's like the final insult, you know? It's like these people that you love and that you've watched their movies and you've watched their comedy. They hand them boatloads of money to set up a class where they tell you all of the wisdom that they have learned in their career. And you, I guess, through osmosis, take that wisdom in and do with it who knows what. We don't know. That's the point. Nobody's really gone that far yet. Do you become David Lynch? I don't know. Maybe you're just interested in filmmaking, and instead of buying a book, you go to a master class. I would be totally cool with this if it was people that were just interested in topics. I don't think that's what it is. I think there's a lot of people out there, like my mother, who's a schizophrenic. When I would watch her at night, after midnight, QVC, the Home Shopping Network, that whole... They take the gloves off when it comes to marketing after midnight. They know who they're marketing to. After 12 a.m., QVC just starts throwing shit out at people. They come out and they're like, this is Jacqueline Kennedy's engagement. We're like, crazy shit that isn't true. And my mother would sit in her chair with her phone out and scribbling into a notebook, writing down the numbers of all of these things and then calling up and spending... just charging. She didn't have any money. She was charging on QVC. So I think a lot of those people will be purchasing Masterclass. I think that's the demo. I don't think the demo is rational people that want to appreciate another art form. I think the demo is people that tweet at Marvel. They're like, let me direct the next one. I've seen that. I've seen people tweet at Marvel. Hey, let me get in there. Let me get in there and direct the next movie in your billion-dollar franchise. These are people that live amongst you. Some of them aren't trolls. It's easy to think everyone's a troll. Mm-hmm. They're not. There's some genuine lunatics walking the earth. There's this guy on Facebook I know. I'm not going to say his name, but he's clearly unwell. And he would tweet at Marvel like, put me in the game. Listen, he would tweet a very serious thing. And you're like, and then you look at the rest of his stuff. You're like, oh, it's obvious he's not a troll. And, you know, but Masterclass. So I was shitting on Masterclass, even though a lot of people that I respect are doing it. And I would also do it. This is what I don't ever want you people to not get about me and about what I preach. If Masterclass came to me with $400, okay? Now, they went to all these other people with a lot of money. But if they came to me with like $400 a month, just a few Pokeballs, essentially, and I had to come and hit you people over the head, I would absolutely do it. You would see me smiling, and I'd go, well, the thing about comedy and podcasting is it takes a lot of time. I don't need a lot of money. They could convince me so easily. They could just pull me in a room and go, listen, fuck these people. That's all they'd have to say. And I go, you're right. You're right. What am I? Yeah. They go, what are you, a fucking schoolboy? Get in there. Teach a masterclass. I don't give a fuck. You people, really, the majority of you don't deserve a government. You don't deserve an entertainment industry. You don't. So the idea that you don't deserve to be dealt with honestly. Mm-hmm. You deserve Masterclass. That's what you get. That's what you get. So if they came to me, I would feel shitty about it for a half a second. And then they'd write a check, and I would fucking dance my fat ass in that fucking YouTube room. And I would spout whatever garbage. I would say, join the platinum tier. Be an Excelsior member of the Masterclass. Do you want the real good wisdom? And so just know that. Know that. I'm not a saint here, which you know. But a guy on Instagram made a really cool parody of the Masterclass, and he pulled things from the podcast that I've said. And it was a lot of fun. And I talked on the last podcast a little bit about the Milo Yiannopoulos thing at the Creek, and I listened to some of the episode, and it's funny. He's pretty funny. He's ridiculous. He's a crazy guy. That's his thing. What I then did on the plane to LA is I listened to the podcast he did with Jordan Peterson. And him and Jordan Peterson, and at points it was somewhat contentious because I think Jordan Peterson had said something about him that Milo didn't really like. They didn't really get into that, but Peterson then subsequently apologized to Milo about it. This was when Milo was essentially taken out. If you don't know who Milo is, Milo, who cares? He was a provocateur. He was a tech writer from Breitbart, which was Steve Bannon's media company, which is backed by Rebecca Mercer. They're a father-daughter team. Robert Mercer is a billionaire. He lives in Long Island, New York, where I'm from. Him and his daughter are conservative, and they back Breitbart financially. They pull the strings. They're the money guys behind Breitbart in the same way that I think, the Koch family is behind like Shapiro and the Daily Wire and Turning Point and all that stuff. Behind all of these things, just away on the left, Soros is behind all of these outfits is money. It's big money. And people with an agenda, and they have an interest in certain viewpoints being pushed forward, and then they want certain charismatic people doing that. So the Breitbart faction had Milo Yiannopoulos. He was like their star, and he was going around as this gay guy who was married to a black guy who was a conservative. He became big from Gamergate, which was this pushback against a PC wing of the gaming community that wanted more women in games. I don't even know that I think I'm approximating this to a point where, even if I'm getting a few details wrong, it's generally what happened. And so you had Yiannopoulos basically going online and pushing back against the people that wanted more representation in video games. It became known as Gamergate. And then he went out and he got popular. He was funny. He was aggressive. He didn't care. He was a troll. He was a master troll. He eventually, ended up going on a college tour in America. There would be all kinds of protests when he showed up. The famous one was at Berkeley. When he went to Berkeley, you had a riot where I think there was over $100,000 worth of damage done to Berkeley. And then eventually he ended up getting deplatformed, kicked off Twitter because a lot of his fans, he was supposedly organizing his fans to go after Leslie Jones. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't care. I'm going to make a bigger point. It's neither here nor there. I'm not a guy for deplatforming people. And anybody who listens knows that. And that's why I didn't care that Legion had him on or whatever. And I really don't care who has a platform. I think everybody has a platform. And if your arguments and ideas are better, it's your job to make them better. And the other thing is that a guy like Milo Yiannopoulos is relatively easy to diffuse if you're a smart person and you can argue. And by the way, so Donald Trump should have been too. I mean, he also should have been relatively easy to beat, to be honest. But he wasn't, for a lot of reasons. But this shouldn't have been what it was. Like, it shouldn't have been this unbeatable guy that nobody could handle. Literally, towards the end, they just started asking him, what are your policies? What do you want to do? And he had no answers. And that was kind of the way to beat him. But you kept fighting with him. You kept playing his game, and then he won. So Yiannopoulos gets deplatformed off Twitter. He's, they kick him off Patreon. He's kicked off, I think, Facebook. I think he's pretty much, I don't know if it's quite as bad as Gavin McInnes, where it was like he was unpersoned. They remove you from all social media immediately, instantaneously. You lose all your followers, fans, your ability to make a living, whatever. So Milo, whatever. I keep going back and forth on what that is. He made a comment years ago in a publication where he said in the gay world, there is mentorship that happens, and that he was molested by a priest at 15 years old, and he does not view it as a negative thing. And in gay relationships, that is more commonplace than you would imagine. This is what he said. He said some version of that. And then he backtracked a little bit and he said he was sloppy and he didn't make the point the right way. And I understand what he was saying. First of all, there's never an excuse or an argument to ever have sex with somebody who's underage in any sexuality. I think that's not what he was saying. I think what he was saying is that he personally, as a victim, it didn't ruin his life. It didn't derail him in a meaningful way. And that he viewed it, I think he said there are certain types of relationships in the gay community where a younger guy is being shown the ropes by an older guy because the younger guy can't really go to his parents because his parents are straight and heterosexual. So the older guy will be like, here are the gay clubs. Here's this, here's that, which is all fine and good, but this not at 15. That's not what happens. But I don't think Milo was saying that it should happen. I think he was saying, hey, I was fucked at 15 or molested at 15 or whatever. So the right goes and gets him. The right digs up that article, the Reagan Battalion, or the people on the right, and they get Milo. They and now it comes out. People are saying, oh, he's pro-pedophilia. Nobody cares about the details, but that's the society that we live in. The comment was an unfortunate comment. He didn't talk about it the right way. And him and Peterson get into it. It's actually a good podcast. But so he's gone. Then he's gone, and he spends 2 years essentially in obscurity. He's over. The college tour's over. He's Simon & Schuster, whoever was publishing his book. I'm pretty sure it was Simon & Schuster. They pull out. He's done. He's unable to continue making a living. He's deplatformed off social media. He essentially goes away. And now he's starting to come back. And he's on Jordan Peterson, and he's angry. And he said he's going to come back now as a comedian. He's going to come back. He's given up on politics for the most part because he doesn't think the right and the conservatives had his back. But, he said, I'm a once-in-a-generation star. I'm once-in-a-lifetime star. I'm going to come back. I'm going to be much more in the realm of a regular entertainer, somebody like a Johnny Carson. He goes, the right has nobody funny, nobody that can crack a joke. And I filled that hole, and I need to again, but I don't care about politics anymore. I'm just going to be somebody who has his own late night show or whatever. And what you get from the interview is, number one, he's hurt, he's angry. He lost everything in one fell swoop. But what you also get from the interview is that this is a guy who at his baseline wanted to be famous. This is what he wanted to do. This is not somebody who was a political thinker. He didn't care particularly about politics. He accidentally got into it. He was a tech writer. And then once he started creating a lot of controversy, he said, I can ride this wave to fame and to fortune. And the people behind him, and this is why I really want to make this point, the people behind him facilitated that rise. When you see people in the public sphere and they all of a sudden are everywhere, seemingly overnight, it doesn't always happen by accident. It can happen by accident, but in many cases, in most cases, and certainly when you look at politicians, you look at people like Milo Yiannopoulos, people like Candace Owens, people like Charlie Kirk. And if you don't know who Candace is, she's the black conservative who's been on Rogan. And, Charlie Kirk's the guy that runs Turning Point. He's like a younger kid. These people are cast in these roles by billionaire families like the Mercers, like the Kochs. The same way that a lot of the Parkland kids were cast in those roles by interests on the left wing. How many kids graduated from Parkland? We know what? 8 of them? Yeah. Who are the rest of them? Where are they? And by the way, I always wonder if a school shooting happened in Long Island. Some of these kids are pretty fucking eloquent. Mm-hmm. They're pretty smart. They're pretty presentable. They're hip. Emma Gonzalez is bisexual. Latinx. David Hawk. I mean, if you shut up my Long Island school and these fucking billionaire families were going around trying to find spokesmen, God help you. God fucking help you if you stumbled upon me or my fucking friend. Yo, the shooting was wrong, but sometimes people need to get fucked up. But I get it. Shooting people in the face is not good. Shoot them in the leg. There would be not a soul that I went to school with who would rise to that occasion. It would just be they would have to sift through Long Island trash for an hour of just okay, let's bring in Tracy. Tracy, how do you feel about what happened? I was really scared, but the reality of the situation is this. I don't really give a fuck because I'm focusing on myself And I'm focusing on, I really want to do cosmetics. This is something I've always believed in. And the reality is my mother is like, you should stop drinking and you should raise your daughter. And I tell her, I'm like, I can do both. So what I need to do is, I don't really care about the fucking shootings and shit. I don't think you should ban guns. I think maybe I should have a gun, quite frankly. Folks, I've told you before about Blue Chew, and it's really something that I think you need to do. Sex is very important, not seemingly to the younger generation of people who've just decided it's kind of a waste of time and that procreation is a tool of the patriarchy used to oppress people, and time is much better spent wielding power through a nameless, faceless online mob. But that being said, there are some people that certainly enjoy getting a little nookie. But you got to have everything working. Everything's got to be in proper order. This is why you go to bluechew.com, okay? Bluechew.com is great. Blue Chew is the first chewable, okay? So you can feel like it's like a Flintstones chewable. Feel like a kid. And it could even be fun. It's like your mom could be like, listen, you know, Dan won't take his Viagra, but he loves his Blue Chew. And then you're just sitting in a high chair at 33 years old and she's feeding you a Blue Chew and you're chewing it. And then some, fat skank comes over that you met and you guys can just go fool around in the basement, which is your room. But it's great. It has the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis in a chewable form. Okay, you don't have to go to the doctor. There's nothing like that. No embarrassing doctor visits and awkward explaining to the doctor why your dick doesn't work. It's shipped right to your home in discreet packaging. Okay, Blue Chew has medical professionals that can easily diagnose and prescribe right over their own website. It's pretty amazing. You got to go to bluechew.com, BLUECHEW, bluechew.com, promo code T. Let me see what the fucking promo code is here because you guys should use it. It is promo code TD. How easy is that? Promo code TD, bluechew.com. Okay. And again, this is everything's going to be great. You're going to have a big hard dick. You're going to meet a lovely woman or man or whatever you want to meet. And then you're going to sit down. You're going to own a home. You're going to have a retirement account. You're going to go on vacation. You're not going to live in this gig economy hell that everybody else is, driving Lyft and Uber between their 15 jobs while they make no money and stop only at red lights to opine on a controversy that doesn't affect them, or, potentially upload a picture to social media that make it seems like they're not living in a hellscape, even though they are, and every minute of the day is spent trying not to relapse on drugs or trying to save enough money so that they can just buy a one-way ticket to a third world country and join a rebel militia. Okay, you're not going to be one of those people. What you will probably be is very successful, happy, well-liked, well-hung. You'll just wake up and have a big dick human being. So BLUCHEW, bluechew.com, promo code TD. But so the Parkland kids, the ones that we've seen are remarkably composed. They're intelligent. And by the way, the people that are casting these roles want these roles. I'm not saying they don't want them. They are auditioning to an extent. I'm sure Candace Owens, Charlie Cook, Muley Up, they wanted these roles. Fame, fortune, money, power. People, when you go to an audition, when most people go to an audition, there's hundreds of people, thousands of people. I mean, when I go, it's 4 fat comics. We see each other every fucking time, and they give it to someone else anyway. It's the same 4 fat idiots sitting there going, yep, we'll go in again. And then we say 2 words. They go, Slate, Tim Dillon, 6-1. Please read the line. Armed robbery. Next. They're like, can you say it again? Don't laugh into the mic. People hate your laugh. I don't know why. I mean, not everyone. Only one guy. Okay. One guy complained about your laugh, but you can laugh. Just try to laugh, But this is these auditions. I don't think it's a bad laugh. I don't know why everyone's so mad at it. Fuck you. Fuck you, one guy. One guy was like, I want to kill that kid because of his laugh. But auditions are filled with hundreds of thousands of people. They all want these fucking jobs. And Milo Yiannopoulos wanted the job somewhere along the line. The reality is there are these different power factions and people, Milo Yiannopoulos, he thought, he was like, I was speaking at CPAC. I was going to be the standard bearer of this party, of the Republican Party, this gay provocateur who's married to a black guy who's out of his mind, who's being deplatformed. He's all over the place. And basically, the National Review crowd in the Republican Party that were more straight-laced, they were the people that didn't want Trump. They got Milo out of there, and they deplatformed him. But this is what you're serving. It's like, you know, when you have a certain job in the administration of the presidency, they say you serve at the pleasure of the president. When you were a guy like Milo Yiannopoulos, you're serving at the pleasure of the Mercers. You're serving at the pleasure of a billionaire family. I know how hard it is to create a grassroots fan base. It's not easy. And when you're able to build one very quickly and you get a lot of media attention and you have a lot of infrastructure and you have a lot of financial support, you're flying around the world and all that shit, none of that is cheap. And these people are funded. There's big money behind all of these people. And if they slip up, or if somebody in an organization that's backing them goes, I don't think they're the right person to get this message out, we're going to get rid of them. And then they throw them overboard. And Milo Yiannopoulos, he sounded a bit naive in the interview with Peterson. He sounded a bit like he seemed to be like he was, it's like, you know, new to the party a little bit. It's like, well, you didn't think that this could happen.
How was he trying to defend himself? How was he? Because that was like wasn't that like a 3-year-old interview?
Yeah.
4 years old, they dug it up?
Yeah. Well, what he was saying is that conservatives are pussies and they didn't have his back. And he was saying that now they're going to get taken out the same way they took him out. Listen, it's not completely untrue that there is now a way to take people out. You go and find something they said, and they've tried to take Peterson out a bunch. It hasn't stuck. It hasn't worked. But I do think they will move Peterson to the center a little bit. They're moving him a little more mainstream. That'll happen. And they'll do it just by, you know, opening up avenues to him that were previously closed. And when those avenues open up, you then have to kind of temper your language and what you're saying, and you try, because you have this avenues, you know, that open up, whether it's mainstream publications or mainstream media, academia, whatever it is, that, you know, Peterson is a different animal than Milo. It's just a different situation. You know, Milo was really a troll and a provocateur. But they've tried to take Peterson out. And listen, they'll try to take Shapiro out. They will try. Everybody will try. What I don't think people understand in this country is that a lot of what you're watching is theater. This is theater. This is to keep you guys entertained. And the money people behind this are just doing whatever they're going to fucking do. Either way, they're doing whatever they're going to do. Mom and dad, who are those big billionaire families, they're doing whatever, that bedtime's whatever time it is. You can negotiate to, you know, maybe you stay out a little longer, whatever it is. They don't care. You're not really moving them off their course dramatically, meaningfully. And if you do, they will come, the gnashing of teeth will be extreme. And this is like people like the Mercers, people like the Kochs, people like, you know, George Soros on the other side. They all have an idea of how the world should be run, and they don't go out to people and say, this is how it is. They recruit people, and they take applications, and they cast people. There's one kid from Parkland, the one right-wing kid from Parkland, Kyle Kashuv, who was out going, we need more guns. I mean, that guy, God love him. That dude, he wasn't in the building that was shot into. He was in like another building. He's like, listen, we gotta, I love that, because you know the NRA they're like, wait, you'll say what? You'll do what? You'll do what? Oh, really? Great. So he's out there saying, arm everybody. Give everybody an automatic weapon. That's his answer. Just throw those fucking, it's the Wild West. Kick open the saloon doors at your own risk, buddy. And so you have this kid now, but here's the thing. Kyle loves saying the N-word. He loved it. He said it on, I don't know where he said it, but he said it on Snapchat. He said it. No, snaps disappear. What's the other? I don't know what it, but they got, or it was a game, it was gaming, Xbox Live. I think Xbox Live, he was letting it fly. It's letting it fly on Xbox Live. And in real life. In real life, too, he'd just walk up to people. He would say the N-word frequently. So they found that. They went and go, hey. So what happens? I think Turning Point USA, I think he resigned. So again, he's out because you serve at the pleasure of the billionaires who back you. That is it. That is what you're out here doing. This is theater. This is to keep people entertained and to keep people thinking that there's real debate and discussion in this country. There really isn't. There's really not a lot of debate and discussion about what's going to happen in this country. I know you like to think there is. You're like, this is everybody's at each other's throats. Yeah, maybe in a fucking grocery store. But in Washington, D.C., they're pretty much on the same page. There's a few things that they like to argue about. Abortion in Alabama and in Georgia. There's a few real hot buttons. Should gay people adopt kids? There's a few things. But when it comes to foreign policy, economic policy, the rights of corporate America, they are pretty much Nancy Pelosi in her Georgetown townhouse or with her millionaire husband in San Fran where fucking Laura Loomer's climbing in her kitchen window. I mean, by the way, how do you not like Laura Loomer a little bit? How do you not respect Laura Loomer a tiny bit? She's the chick who takes it too far. Mm-hmm. That she's the girl on your block that would hang out with the boys and would kind of do anything, if you know what I mean, to have friends. Like you'd be like, eat this bullfrog. And she'd be like, okay, should I put it in my pussy? And you're like, oh my God, you'll just put it in your pussy? She's like, yeah, I can hang out with you guys, right? So this bitch is climbing in Nancy Pelosi's fucking kitchen window because they threw her off Twitter. And again, none of it really matters. Like, and Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump have a lot more in common with each other, and they have a lot more in common with Stephen Colbert than people have in common with, my Uncle Larry, for example. Uncle Larry doesn't have a ton in common with Nancy Pelosi, Trump, Colbert. There's just not a lot in common. But this is the thing. If people love to get involved, they get invested. There's YouTube shows that cover the beef of other YouTubers. Like and the internet is great because it really does allow people to really feel. And listen, did it elect Trump? Yeah, there are certain, I'm not saying that there's absolutely no effect. But if you look at what Trump has done, he's done a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that just haven't changed and won't change. And still, and you see people that are like cognizant politically for the first time. They're all like, wait a minute. But Trump said there was going to be a wall and Wall Street was going to be reined in and we're going to get a new healthcare plan. This isn't what happens. You got to grow up a little bit. The people that are in those positions make it very, very difficult to make any real change. It's just the fucking way it is. So what we did, we focus on Candace Owens. Did Candace Owens say something about Hitler? What did Roseanne tweet? Oh, I can't believe Kyle Kashuv, this 17-year-old, I had no idea who he was, but he said the N-word. And these are the things you don't focus on what's truly happening behind the scenes because you don't know. It's kept from you. It comes out in a book 10 years later. Or if you're really, really plugged in and you pay attention, you can figure out some of what's happening, somebody that I think it was the chick on Chapo, Amber said, it was like, hardcore Marxist or whatever, but she goes, I love the Financial Times more than the New York Times. She goes, because I actually glean more information. It's a better publication. I learn more about what's going to happen in the world. The Financial Times is the world as it is. And the New York Times is that, editorialized, rosy view of like, well, we think that the law. And the Financial Times is like, this is up, this is down. We need a pipeline to the Caspian Sea. Energy prices are crashing. We might need to get a little cute in a certain area. We might need to go over. They're like, so there are ways to figure out this information, but it is funny to me how much of it is theater. And I know that people get mad at me because they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Not care about anything? Yes. 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 No, I'm kidding. Listen, care about what you can care about. I don't, people tell me all the time, like, what does it mean? So we shouldn't get health care? I'm like, no, we should have health care. What? What are you even saying? I was at lunch the other day. Somebody started winning in on me for no reason. I'm eating a Pokeball. They go in on me. Sorry, they shouldn't have health care. No, we should. We should. We should also not torture people in underground prisons. I'd prefer if we didn't assassinate democratically elected leaders in our own country and around the world. I would like us to stop poisoning people, murdering journalists. I would enjoy all of that. I would like if we stop sending paramilitary death squads into other countries so that they could make way for our corporations to go in there and pillage people. All of that and healthcare would be nice. It would be very positive for this country. But I'm telling you how things, like, it is what it is. The world is what it is. The things that I know, the people I've had on the fucking show, the discussions that we've had, the debate, like the areas that we've gone into, you start to get a little coarsened by this. You start talking about human trafficking. You start talking about what's going on. You get a little coarsened. And it's not that difficult to, like, imagine that, like, oh, maybe some of these senators and congressmen don't really care about giving us health care because they're being blackmailed, because they're into kiddie porn and they're doing blow. So maybe they don't really give a shit. Maybe they don't care. I care. But here's the thing. People are like, what do you not care? I care. I had people on this show. Gave them the platform. I had well-researched writers come on the show who dedicated their lives to researching how corrupt and fucked our government was. And you know what people said? They said, we don't want to listen to this. We want something else. Give us something else. Give us a dope queen and the guy we fucked. Give us something else. Give us a Pod Save America. We're going elsewhere. This ain't fun for the young professionals going to their cubicles. They don't like that. They don't like that with their matcha latte. They don't really like hearing about senators boinking kids and getting paid off and fucking slaying candidates. So I try. I bring people on. We did a live podcast, who showed up? Not a lot of people. We did one for True TV. We brought Russ Baker on. He was fucking all over the place. I think he was kind of drunk, but this is what happens when they cast you out of fucking polite society and you can't talk to anyone. You have a few. So he comes on and he's telling people about MK Ultra and the Boston Marathon bombing. And there's about 100 young professionals in suits staring at me, him, and Ray Kump like you have no idea. They were completely lost. They were like in their own head somewhere else. So when people say to me, do I care? Yeah, I care. And we've actually tried in a little way, in our little shitty way, using this platform that we fucking had. We tried to get people to give. The people don't give a shit. They don't care. They want to be socialists. They want to be alt-right. They want to be a thing. And they want a game. And they want to be online with people that think like them. And they want to make memes. And they want to go get laid. And they go to the fucking Brooklyn Red Socialist Party event mixer. I'll go down there and suck a few communists off. What do I give a shit? But this is what they want to do. They don't give a shit. They really don't care. They want to get a Patreon going. They want money. They want fame. What they don't want is any real fucking... These are not revolutionaries. They're not going to go burn down the Bastille. It's not happening. The revolution isn't coming. Look at the fuckers who say it is. What is Antifa going to do? They're going to throw a rock at what? The White House? What are you, nuts? With some fat green-haired lesbians going to chuck a nunchucks at the White House? And what do you think's going to happen? What do you think? And who knows? You want those people to rule? They might be worse. But this is what I mean. I'm sick of wearing this mantle of, I don't care. No, you don't care. You don't fucking care. You don't sit with Nick Bryant, this fucking guy who's telling you about torture and all this shit for hours. You bring him on the show. The guy's got white hair. He's telling you. You bring Mark Galeotti on, does a whole book about the Russian mob and Trump and everything like that. It's like, so the whole thing is, I remember stand-up had a great quote once. Stand-up was like, yeah, people say I don't care, but stand-up was like, yeah, it didn't matter when I cared. Remember when I cared? No one gave a shit. So to me, it's like, listen, do whatever you want. Go get healthcare. Go get everything. Get everything. do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to say stuff that's going to get me in trouble here, but do what you want to do. Listen, I said as a joke, this is a joke, and I'm a comedian, but I said if you wanted to get the government's attention, this is a joke, and I'm a joker. Jokey, jokey, joke. But if you wanted to get the government's attention, you would strap a bomb to a 2-year-old and send that toddler into a Grand Central. Every week, you would go to a different station, and the toddler would walk in, and this is fun. I did this on stage. It was kind of funny because I do a toddler walk, and it's very funny, but a lot of people don't laugh. But it's very funny to a few certain select people in the room that are they're really over life, so they think this shit's good. So I do the toddler walk, and I go, and the toddler he's got a little bear attached to him, but it's a bomb, and he just goes, whoosh. And then people, listen, you're gonna get some attention. They'll be like, these fuckers are willing to send in toddlers to train stations at rush hour and blow them up. I'm not saying to do that. Like when me and Ray told a bunch of our fans to join ISIS and move to Syria, we did that, number one, because I think you should travel. I think you should leave. I've said people should go teach English in China. And I've said if you feel strongly about something, I don't agree with ISIS. They've done horrible things to gay people or whatever. But it's hard for me to not respect if my friend Ryan, who's a personal trainer and a DJ, if he were to join ISIS and be in Syria, and I saw a photo with him in that Jeep Grand Cherokee with that Kalashnikov, I would be a little proud. I'd be a little proud that he did it. So when me and Ray said, go out there and join out, we just said, listen, you're all chirping all day on Twitter. Go and, but I'm sick of, I'm no longer going to take this shit like I don't care. And I've never, I know how fucked up it is. We told people how fucked up. People don't really like that. They want like the SNL level of like, it's kind of silly. That's what people want to think about the government, that it's like a little silly. It's silly. They don't want to think it's a murderous death cult that's imposing. Yeah. They just don't. They don't. I like to think it is, because to me, that's funnier than it being silly. If it was silly, it's kind of stupid. But when you understand what it is, you go, this is a murderous. It's kind of like life means nothing to these people. You start laughing. Folks, many of you are still out there in the world without a website. I don't know how you're doing it. It's crazy. But let me tell you right now, it's not going to work. I've told you that before. Especially if you want the boomers, if you want older fans, if you want that generation of people that have raped and pillaged, ruined the world, that are all about to retire and shit themselves, and retirement homes all over the Eastern Seaboard and really all over the country. If you want those people figuring out where you are and what you're doing, you have to have a URL, got to have a website. This is the way it is. Those people, they love Facebook because it's a website. Social media, they don't really understand. They're not on Twitch. You're not going to find them on whatever the other one is that I'm blanking on right now, TikTok. It's just not going to happen. So you need a website. Go to timdillonsgoingtohell.com, TIMDILLONS, goingtohell.com. There is no is in this site. We built this site for the podcast using Wix. Okay, you will see my live dates coming up. I'm at Mohegan Sun, June 20th to the 23rd. I'm at Hilarities in Cleveland, the 19th and the 20th of July. Go to the website, go all the way to the bottom of the website and click on the link, and then upgrade or get a Wix premium package or upgrade it. And you're going to save 10% if you take the link from my website. I'll tell you this, Wix is great. Lots of people are using Wix. I think over 100 million, have probably over 150 million have started websites with Wix. You could choose from over 500 templates. They have a drag and design, an ADI, which is an artificial design intelligence. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do really is sit back, answer a few questions about what you want your website to look like. Then Wix will do the rest. So for those of you who are completely checked out, don't even want to do anything, want a business, want people to know who you are, but don't even want to contribute to your own website, don't worry. You can sit back and let an alien, artificial intelligence, design the entire website for you. Okay? They got AI to do what you can't do. If you can't even contribute to your own website, if you're like, hey, listen, I want success, but what I don't want is to spend even 3 minutes choosing a template. Maybe you're too busy. Maybe you're too busy to choose a template. Well, they have that for you. Isn't that great? Okay? Again, Tim Dillon's DILLONS. No is here. Goingtohell.com. Also, if you're a listener of the show, you know that we have a promotion where if you do this, I will have you on the show, and we're going to do this episode next week to promote your product, whatever it is, whatever you're using on the website, whether you're a band or whatever. timdillonsgoingtohell.com. If you upgrade through my site, I will give you 90 seconds on the show, but you have to prove it to me with a direct message on Instagram showing that you've actually done it through my site. And then you can come on for 90 seconds and you could plug whatever nonsense you're doing, and you'll get an audience of tens of thousands of people that may be interested. All right. That's when you take shrooms or anything and you realize you just start looking at these demons. Watch George H.W. Bush's funeral and watch the demons climb onto the podium to eulogize him. They're 87. They've drank human blood their entire life. They have soft skin, the skin that comes from eating the pineal gland of children. And they get up. Why do you think Comedy Central hasn't given me a show? And I'm asking literally because I don't know. I think I'm affable. So these guys climb up onto the thing and they're like, I remember. And they're barely alive, but they're just animated by the demonic forces. And they climb onto the thing and they're like, I remember when I first. And everything about George H.W. Bush's life is a complete fiction, by the way. And everything about most of these fucking people's lives is a fiction, okay? And it's perpetuated by a media and whatever. So these fuckers get. And to me, the real story is funny. That's one of the reasons I like it. It's absurd, it's crazy, it's funny, and it makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense. When you start realizing, you're like, why do these congressmen and senators never give a fuck about the people in their districts? And you go, oh, they're all compromised. Many of them are blackmailed. They're bought and sold. And then you start to understand how and why. Then it makes a lot more sense. When you understand these things, but when you see these demons eulogizing HW and they get up there and they're like, I met George years ago. I met him. He was, and everyone in the room, like they're all kind of swaying, and they've got tears, and the media's there too, and they're all crying because they all loved them because they're fucking. They're all fucking. It's the same thing. They're all in the same crew. It's the same camp, and so to me, so when I heard Milo. Like shocked. Like I love these people that are shocked that you can be thrown away. Yeah, you can be thrown away. You can be taken out. You can be thrown to the street. You are not essential. You know what I mean? You're not essential to the operation. There's somebody else waiting in the wings, waiting to take your spot. So when Yiannopoulos goes, well, I'm going to come back as a comedian and I'm going to host my own show on my own website. Fine. Do whatever you want. But that's what you always were. You always were a comedian. You never were important politically. It didn't matter. It seemed like you were. You helped maybe shift some people's opinions on certain things for a while. But make no mistake, this is theater. And you are a theatrical performer. You're not an essential part of how this system worked. And it worked for a long time when you just had the major networks. All of this was much easier because these guys went to the same schools. They lived in the same communities. It was very easy to corral people. Now it's harder, but that's why you hold the auditions and you get in Charlie Kirk and Candace. So somebody I know like knows Charlie Kirk, and this is not somebody that I know well. Like people listen to this show, they still have no idea who I am. They have no idea who I am. I'm not like a woke social justice. Yes, Queen. So they think I'm like a country club Reaganite or something. And they're like, I could maybe get Charlie Kirk on the show. I said, let me. I've had people on my show that have credibly accused the Bush family of the murder of President Kennedy, profiting from the drug trade, human trafficking, the overthrow of democratically elected government, murder, genocide, really. I will go into that. If Kirk comes on my show, we are talking Franklin scandal. I'm going to say, Charlie, what? So I'll give him one question. I'll be like, tell us about how low taxes help the business climate. He'll get so excited. And then I'll be like, all right. So now that we gotten that out of the way, let's get down to business. I got a few testimonies you might want to hear, and I'll just pull the book out. Page 4, I'll have a copy for him. These people are clowns. They're clowns. They're saying whatever they have to say to make money. Don't fall for it. Don't be that stupid. They're just saying, they're actors. They couldn't get into Hollywood because their teeth are fucked up. Ocasio-Cortez, teeth fucked up. They're in another, there's a quote that says, like, politics is acting for ugly people, show business for ugly people. And it's what it is. They're saying whatever they have to say. They don't care. Ann Coulter, who is funny, but mentally unwell and funny, she, during Iraq War, was like, CIA's great, FBI's great. We got to go and invade their countries, kill their leaders, convert them to Christianity. That was the quote that got her fired from the National Review. Now, the FBI and CIA are horrible. They're all infested with globalist shills that are trying to get rid of President Trump. We should build a wall, and we don't belong in any of these fucking countries, Syria, whatever. Who cares? If they're gassing their own people, let them do it. It's not our problem. She went 180 from all of her views. They don't care. These people don't care about anything. They don't have any values. Their value is relevance. That's all they give a shit about. Am I near the bestseller list? Am I on the top? Am I on the shows? Am I on the right shows? Am I on the Sunday shows? Am I getting invited to the right cocktail party? They don't give a shit and they don't believe in anything. So don't fucking come at me when I'm trying to eat a Poke Bowl. Tell me that I don't give a shit. You fucking psychopaths. You nuts. I've done the deep dives. I don't give a shit because I'm not getting on stage. I don't have a half hour about socialized medicine. The fuck you want me to write about? My mother's in a mental institution. It would be nice if that was nicer. Put a couple of couches in there that are nice. I'd visit more. I have no problem with that. Stop acting like I'm corporate shill. I'm making no money. People call me a corporate. They message me on Instagram. They're like, you're a corporate shill. For what corporation? Gas Digital Inc.? Does that even exist? Every day I'm waiting for the FBI to come in and throw us in cuffs. I mean, corporate shill. People are bananas out there. I just want to be an LA woman, a 50-year-old LA woman whose entire life people want to fuck her, and then they want to fuck her. They don't really want to fuck her anymore. So she starts getting spiritual at 50, and she starts talking about the journey, and she gets into meditation and health and wellness and wholeness and being whole because nobody wants to put anything in her hole anymore. And she didn't have to think about any of that before she was 50 because everyone everywhere wanted to fuck her. Every door magically opened. The sun, rainbows appeared over her head. But when she got 50 and a couple of, the plastic surgery can hide a little, but it can't hide it all, can it? So then you have to get real deep and you have to take that journey. How long have I done? I want to say a few more things too.
We're at 44.
We're at 44.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So I got a few more things to say to the comedy community. There's a real theater kid energy in certain parts of the comedy community right now, and I will say that there's a lot of unearned. What's the word? Jubilance? Is that a word? Sure. Jubilant.
Yeah.
People are very happy. This is my problem. I look at people sometimes, they're very happy.
Well, they think they're doing something.
They're happy, things are going well, but a lot of this is, I was an actor. I wasn't in high school theater, okay? You talentless faggots. I was a real actor. I was on Sesame Street. And before you laugh at that, you fat chicks, you bunch of fat chicks, trying to get attention for the first time in your goddamn life, understand that I got paid, not a lot and not often, but I was paid. I was in real plays that real people wrote. And yes, some of them killed themselves afterwards. That's what playwrights do. They take themselves out. Okay? They don't go to JFL and dance around. They blow their brains out. New York was a great city. I was in a show called Lake of Fire. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't that. But I was in another show called Christmas Dreamers Awaken. It was about a woman who was raped by her father repeatedly. And it was in the Village. When the Village was cool, it had little black box theaters. And I was in this. I think I was 8 or 9 or something. I don't even know what I did. I just kind of sat there while the main character went on and just hinted about her dad raping her. She never fully, but it was pretty. If you were intelligent, you knew what was going on. Her father came to the show, and he sat there through the whole thing, and it was clear that the main character was his daughter and that he was the rapist. He molested everybody. And she said, "What do you think?" afterwards? And he went, "I thought it was good. It was a little long." And now that's been replaced in Manhattan by theater kids. Theater kids with PR departments behind them singing and everything. And this is what I feel about it. There's some real talent out there. Even people I disagree with on pretty much everything. There's some very talented people out there. But there's a theater kid energy. And the theater kid energy is kind of like, we're the shit. Who cares? Doesn't matter. We're the new hot thing. We're great. We live in this bubble. We enjoy it. And it's all fine. What I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you this. There is, I don't care what is going on at the moment for anybody. There are so many talented people in New York City who you'll just never see, you'll never hear from, and they will die underappreciated, unappreciated, alone. And just, you know what? Think about them a little bit. Think about them a little bit when you're doing your interviews and you're asked meaningless questions by some other goon whose job it is to, and just realize that you're lucky. That Joan Rivers said, some people out there are fucking very lucky. You're a whole lot of fine. You're a whole lot of fine. You didn't invent shit. It ain't great. It ain't a riot when you perform. Like, people aren't stomping to get their money back, usually because no money was exchanged. But just know that that's where it's at. Don't relax. Okay, I will say a quote that someone said that made me a little upset. They said, when people copy me, you know what I say? I say, thank you. But no one's copying you because you've done nothing. And I don't mean that in a dick way, because this person I'm talking about, I think there's talent there, but you've inspired no one. You've done nothing. Cut it out. Just relax. Enjoy what's happening. Enjoy where you're at. And realize there's a cashier at CVS who is so much more talented than you'll ever be. And she's got 3 kids and a husband that beats her. And you are in a position to be fine and have everyone love it. Just know that that's where it's at. Don't get crazy. Be happy. Listen, people could say the same thing about me. I am fine. There's guys that are funnier than me that'll never get certain opportunities I've gotten. And I try to think about that. I try to think about how fucked up life is. Not all the time, because you gotta, you can't. I'm not saying, but certain people that go out there and there's just this real attitude that they've been around for about 5 minutes and they act like they've changed the game. They've changed the game. And 5 minutes ago, they were poof, nobody knew. Gone. Who? They didn't know. Nobody knew. But now they're here and they've revolutionized everything. Gutenberg with the printing press, they came out and they gave people the idea that they could live. There's people out there that they now believe they can be like me and live. And it's such an honor to inspire people creative. Can you cut it out? Nobody is out there. It's a mirage. It's a black box. Nobody's what some fat chick from Ohio's now going to move to New York. She was going to anyway. She was coming anyway. Stop. Just be happy. I come from the world of theater, real theater, not mommy and daddy paid money for camps and they paid money for publicists. Real fucking theater. Great people that are fucking tremendous. And none of them succeeded. They all end up fucking singing to old people in Long Island, half of them. This is what happens. You get cocky and you start talking like you're the shit. It's just, to me, I just say to myself, ugh, it's not needed. It's not needed. It's not mature. It is what it is. I have a lot of respect. I see a lot of plays. I see a lot of shows. I watch a lot of people. You're not going to know who they are, but they're fucking great. They're great at what they fucking do. And it's just it can be a little aggravating when out of nowhere, somebody pops up and they tend to think that they're paving the way. They're paving the way for people. The way's been paved. None of us are paving the way here. It's been paved. Are you high? Are you high? It's been paved. It's paved. People are coming down. It's good. It's good. I'm happy. Am I making sense?
Yeah. Yeah, like when we saw the ferryman, like in the front row, and there was the what's it called when they come out and bow? The curtain call, whatever. Yeah. I forget. They come out. Yeah, it's a 3-hour.
I'm in the theater. I don't know what it's fucking called. No, I'm trying to think. The cast call, the bow. I get. I've done it more than half these other people that are gonna make fun of me. I can't think right now because he fucking just yelled at the Bush family for an hour. I'm scattered. Yeah, but we saw but I'm like embarrassed to be seen by. Like, I don't even want them to see my face. Well, they should write an article about you that you're the boss now. You're the boss of the 5 families. They're going to write an article that you're the boss. And you go, I'm the boss now. I didn't shoot nobody. I didn't run a successful operation. No racketeering, no gambling, no murder, no women. I didn't do nothing, but I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And, when people emulate me, they copy me, I say, thank you. God. What are you doing? Have a little dignity. Mm-hmm. Inject it into yourself somehow. A lot of people.
that baby on stage.
There was a baby.
And you were like, that baby's done more than either of us.
The baby on the ferryman is done more than me and Ben have done and made more money and is more essential to the production in every way. No one cares what I go to Laugh Bar. If they come out before me and go, today we're going to have a magician who does magic with puppets, the audience would go nuts. They'd fall out of their seats. There'd be 25, 30 people, and more now because more people are knowing who I am. Some of my fans would be a little upset until he came out and did a little bit with the puppet, and then a lot of them would go, well, this isn't bad, is it? We're already here. So I'm just saying, I respect a lot of different people, a lot of different kinds of comedy, but sometimes people ask me to do articles or they'll pitch an article to me. They're like, how is it harder as a gay guy in comedy? I'm like, I'm not doing this article. They're like, what's it like when a gay guy works comedy clubs? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like tons of gay guys have done throughout history. What are you talking about?
Right.
I mean, I remember one gay guy in New York was like, I was the first gay guy to work a comedy club. I'm like, that's provably untrue. That's completely wrong. You're saying that. I get it. I don't hate on anybody. You get press written about you. Great. Just come. Unless, here's the other thing. Unless you were kidding. Maybe you were kidding when you said that. And then if that was the case, I feel a little stupid. Now, if you were kidding.
Might have been a joke.
If you were kidding when you said that, it's kind of funny. And, well, if I mean, if that was a joke, then the last quarter of the show was my joke. Then I was kidding. If you were kidding, then I was kidding. But I don't know if you were kidding. And the point is this. It's a larger point. It's not the one line. It's the larger thing. It was the line a lot. But it was a larger thing. How beautiful here. Isn't this nice? What are we at now?
55.
55. Folks, timdilloncomedy.com. We have really fun stuff coming up. We have a lot of cool shit happening. I'm going to be at Comics at Mohegan Sun, July 20th through the 22nd. July 23rd, I'll be at Skankfest. I'll be doing some club spots in New York the last week of June. I said June, right? June. Did I say July? June 20th through the 22nd, Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Ticket link in the profile page of my Instagram. July 19th and 20th, Hilarities in Cleveland, Ohio. One of my favorite clubs. I absolutely love it. August 1st through the 3rd, American Comedy Company in San Diego. A lot of dates down south in August, including Charlotte, North Carolina, Nashville. Going to be down there at Zanies. Comedy Zone in Charlotte, Nashville, Zanies, the Stardome, and I think Huntsville, Alabama, or Hoover, Alabama, and somewhere else in Hoover, Alabama. All of those dates are on the website. You can get tickets to all of that stuff. Tim J. Dillon, Dillon on Instagram and Twitter. We update stuff in the moment if I'm doing shit around LA or if I'm doing stuff in New York. What is your information?
At Ben Avery is good on Instagram and Twitter. BenjaminAvery.net is my website.
Ben is out there producing, editing, doing all kinds of shit. If you need him, if you need work, not work, if you need work, if you have work for him, hit him up, email him. Maybe he's too busy. Maybe he'll be able to do that. Don't email him if you're a clown. Email him if you're a serious person. Fucking send some troll email unless it's funny. If it's funny, he won't care. But don't jam up the inbox, but whatever. We are going to do the episode. I know that a lot of people are like, was that a scam with Wix? Are you really going to? No, it's not a scam. I told you something and I'm going to follow through on my promise. If you did what I said you had to do, which was go to my website, click on the link at the bottom, which was Tim Dillon's, Dillons, goingtohell.com. There's no is, it's just Tim Dillon's with an S, goingtohell.com. It's the Wix site that we built for the show. It has some of my live dates on it, some media on it. If you went to the bottom, clicked on the link, got 10% off a premium plan with Wix, and then messaged me that or showed me that, you're coming on the show for 90 seconds. You have 3 minutes to pitch whatever project you want. You're in front of tens of thousands of people. You'll pitch whatever project you want. I may ask you questions about it, or I may be so disgusted and horrified we hang up on you. No, I'm sure. I don't think we're hanging up. We're going to ask, you're going to get more than 90. But 90 is a lot. You're going to get 90 to pitch. 90 is a good pitch. It's too long. It's really too long for most of you. Most of you got 60 seconds in you at best.
I will say a lot of people that did it didn't use the promo code. So if you can't even do that, I mean,
listen, here's the reality. I'm just putting you on anyway. I don't even know if my ad department knows how the promo code works. Listen, I'm going to put you on if you sent me a screenshot that you did something. You're going to be on the show. I don't have the fucking time to advertise who's lying, or not to advertise, to do an investigation and pull it up and see who's fucking around and who just took a picture of Wix or whatever. Listen, we get to you. We're going to do that episode. It's coming up soon. I would imagine we're going to record it next week. I'm going to put it up on my Instagram story or on Twitter. And then after we've done the episode 2 weeks later, somebody's going to message me and go, remember, here's the way. Well, pay attention, fuckers. Pay attention. We're doing it once and only once. You guys are going to, I swear to God, at 45 seconds, you're going to have nothing. I swear to God, you're going to have fucking nothing. And it's 90 seconds to pitch. Pitch what you're doing. You think that was a joke? If you copy me, you know what I say, thank you.
Wait, what?
You think that was a joke? You didn't read the article.
What are you talking about?
The thing that I just ranted about for 17 minutes, and now if I don't know if it's serious or not.
Oh, the gay thing?
No. What gay
Wait, what
thing?
are you talking about?
What gay thing did I even talk about?
About the comic in the article who said...
it's nothing to do with gay. So, what does that have anything to do with gay?
What are you talking about? I don't...
The thing...
I have no idea.
The thing when the comic goes, when people copy me, you know what I say? Thank you.
Oh. I thought you were talking about the gay comment. I don't know. You have to tell me who said that off mic, and I could have some more context.
I don't I think it was serious. I'm just saying.
It sounds like I've heard comics say crazier things than that.
And this is a talented person, but it's just crazy. It's wild.
Comics that say I've changed comedy.
I've said stuff, not stuff like that, but I've said stupid stuff where I've just tried to be funny and it came off weird, and people are like, "What you dude?" So I respect everybody, and if you listen to this show, nothing could be further from the truth than what I just said. When I just said that, when that came out of my mouth, I just said I respect everybody. Nothing. I've never been anything less than that.
Yeah.
So you see how easily I just said it?
Mm-hmm.
I respect everyone. Everyone's great. No, I don't mean a word of that. I don't mean a pause. I don't mean any of that. There's not one word of that I mean. But we are where we are.
Yeah, a comic asked you last night, how do you post on Instagram with like such confidence?
Yeah.
And how do you post the stories? And you said, because I look at these people like animals.
I have contempt for all the people. So we just do what we do, and if you like it, you like it. That's it. Except you. And you know who you are. Who's ever listening to this, you are not who I'm talking about. Everyone else, them. You are a gift from God. You were designed by Jesus Christ. You are the only fan I want and the only one I need. Everyone else is a flaming pile of dog shit who I want to see dismembered on television. I don't have television, but on a streaming service or social media or something that's fucking relevant. timdilloncomedy.com. Goodbye. Coming to San Diego, where I am having a great weekend here at American Comedy Company in San Diego, a city of very attractive, if a little bit retarded people. They are very attractive, and the shows have been excellent. People have been coming out, and we're having a lot of fun. And actually, they're not that stupid. I mean, they're probably stupid, but not in the club. They've been getting all the jokes, and I mean, I'm pumped about that. Thank God. I had a friend, and I was like, some of the people, San Diego's not the brightest city, and my friend's like, working out and being healthy, that's a different kind of intelligence. And I'm like, I know that, dummy. What I'm saying is that doesn't help me if I'm making fucking jokes with references that people don't understand.
Right.
That's the problem. I'm not saying that fucking following, a rigid keto diet isn't some evidence of intelligence and reason. I get that. Okay? I'm with you. All right? I'm not taking away all their fucking accomplishments. I get that discipline requires some level of mental dexterity. I'm with you. I'm saying that if I make a joke about something and you stare at me like you're brain dead, I don't care how good you look, it doesn't really help. When you were doing stand-up, did you ever come down here?
Yeah, a lot. It's kind of the place to go for stage time in LA.
And how did you find it?
I didn't like it.
Why did you not like it?
You like what you're saying. They're kind of dumb people. They want crowd work and like talk about how drunk people are,
right?
And that type of shit. Kind of a daft crowd.
But there's something nice about the city here because they don't. I haven't seen any of these pseudo-intellectual pretend artist types.
No, that is nice. Yeah,
they don't have any of that. It's fucking military, athletic people. They
got the life here. They're not trying to worry about any nonsense.
Yeah. Some real bar fights here, people beating each other's brains out, just fucking like animals. This is the way, and I say it on stage, this is the way to experience the apocalypse. Mm-hmm. Hot on a beach, fucking.
Yep.
Because New York and places like New York and LA, they're all going to be trying to solve the problem. They're going to die saying, actually, I'm right. Like, that'll be the last words they say.
Right.
They'll be like, no, actually. And then, it'll all end.
Yeah.
But here in San Diego, the last thing you'll hear is like, and they'll just be coming and.
Yeah. People in San Diego look like they fuck with their tongues out.
Oh, yeah.
Like extreme people.
There's some really attractive people in the city.
Yeah, very hot.
I went down to Seal Cove the other day, which is a beach where they've where there's a lot of seals and sea lions, and then tourist Americans go visit the sea lions to feel better about their own weight, which I think is very nice of San Diego to have a place where Americans can walk out on the beach and go, see, I'm not that fat. Look at that 1,800-pound sea lion. The sea lions are, of course, usually much better looking than the Americans because they carry their weight better. That's just a fact. That's a reality.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fat. You know how fat people are when you're down on the beach and next to the 2,000-pound sea lion, they look fine. You know what I mean? They look like, I'm like, what animal could I put next to you that would dwarf you? And like, we need a hippopotamus. We need a rhinoceros. Like, there's a 2,000-pound sea lion. These people aren't scared at all. They're walking up to these things, smacking them in the face. What up, bitch? Getting on their backs, riding them around. I'm kidding. They're not doing any of that. But supposedly at night, I was talking to some guy, drunk high school girls from La Jolla run down to the beach, or college girls or whatever, and they just like cradle the sea lions. They're all hammered. They're like, come here, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. And then every now and then a sea lion takes a bite out of their arm.
Yeah, all for an Instagram picture.
Yeah, all
some
for
selfie.
All for a selfie. I like that you said at breakfast, you said, what was it? Their first, what did you say? How did you phrase it? Their first, what was it?
I don't even remember things I say. I don't know. It was about the sea lions and the.
This is why he doesn't talk more. People say to me, they're like, why doesn't he talk more? I'm like, he kind of has Alzheimer's. He says it. No, it was like their first lesson they learned was a sea lion biting them.
Oh,
but
right.
You said it in a very funny way and you forgot.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It's all right. It's not me. They'll still like me. We're trying to build your fan base here. But you said something very funny at break. That is the curse of some people. Say something very funny, and then if cameras go on or recording devices go on, they completely do not have it anymore. There are people that I've seen kill on shows, and then they'll go to a festival like JFL, or they'll do Conan or something, and then as soon as it matters, not that this matters, but as soon as like anything matters, they just walk out and they're like, "Aah!" And they just have nothing, and then they fail and they leave. No, they don't leave. They stay, but they never quite get it. I will say I had to end a friendship recently with somebody who I could see was going insane. It's very important to spot people on their journey to insanity and then throw them out of your life before they officially arrive in the insane asylum. And you could see it happening to a lot of people. And there's a lot of like different indications they give. One of the indications was a friend of mine recently was telling me that they needed an assistant, but they didn't have a job. They had no job. They spend all day doing nothing, but they need an assistant. That's one of those fucking indications that somebody's about to lose their fucking mind. And they had to go. And then they asked about Ben, who produces the show. They're like, is Ben your assistant? Will Ben schedule like furniture deliveries to your house? I'm like, what? Furniture? Who's having furniture delivered? You don't have a job. You're not doing it. Like, these people aren't doing anything. And you realize, they're starting to lose touch with reality. They're like, it's like, how you dip your toe in the pool? They're dipping their toe into outer space. And they're seeing how it feels without gravity. And they like it. They're like, it feels nice without gravity. And so in order to do that, you need to assemble a group of people around you that won't question any of these things and go, you do need an assistant. You need a team, really. Really, you need a team. And they're like, you're right. I need a team. But unfortunately, this person had to go. And it is unfortunate. I try to surround myself with rich people, but a lot of the problem is there's nothing worse than a rich person who hasn't accepted they're rich and then tries to be smart. This is of the archetypes of human being that absolutely need to be caught in a riptide.
Yeah.
This is one of the archetypes. A person who's guilty about their amount of privilege, that they have money. So what they then have tried to do is become like an artist or become intelligent. And every interaction they have with the world is just this insufferable need to feel smart and to be recognized for their intelligence. But they also like shoes. Like it's that type of person. They're like, I'm a genius, but I also love sneakers. That's a new archetype of human being, by the way. They're like, I love revolution, and I'm a very, I'm a thinker, and I realize that society's fucked, but I also love sneakers. And that I have those two parts of my personality that are constantly, I love jackets and fashion, and also, I'm a genius. It's just both of those things that you get.
Yeah.
And it's utterly. So I had to have you ever torched a friendship and then not regretted that you're not friends with the person, but regretted the way that you did it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We're impulsive,
Yeah.
say something real, like a headshot, and you feel kind of bad about it, but you're probably on your way to not being friends anyway.
I felt bad that I said a few things that I should not have said, but I think sometimes in this society, honesty is people recognize honesty as an attack, especially when it is worded like an attack.
Mm-hmm.
But but I do think that people, to be an honest person is, I hate to say it, but it is kind of revolutionary in a city like Los Angeles, where many of the people you're dealing with are mentally ill. They're insane. So for you to say something that's based in reality throws them, for a loop, and then they're angry at you. They're mad at you. They're mad if you suggest something that's reality based.
Right.
If you suggest a solution that's based in, any type of reason, or, people just look at you like you're a dick. They're like, that guy sucks, that guy's a bad person because he chose to puncture, this little bubble of insanity that I've built that I cannot have punctured. I just have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I did feel bad because I said a few things that I regret. And I think that's what happens, unfortunately, when you let stuff build up. I think that's what happened with OJ. I think it's what happened with a lot of people that should have addressed those issues earlier and did it. But why is OJ the most well-adjusted person on Twitter? Why is he looks good, plays golf, seems happy, has pretty decent stuff to say about the Democratic debates, has pretty good analysis? Why is that? Because he can't, and he did, he's had a wild life.
Yeah.
Think about OJ's life and think about Donald Trump's life, right? These guys have had wild lives. OJ was a star running back, movie star,
Mm-hmm.
maybe murderer,
Maybe.
got away with murder. He was like the toast of LA society. Got away with murder. Ended up going to jail for like stealing. What did he do?
He stole his memorabilia back from a guy that was selling his memorabilia.
And now he's out. He's in, the golden years of his life. He's playing golf. He looks good. He's,
he's free. He's got nothing to hide anymore.
He's free. He's got nothing to hide. I mean, all in all, let's be honest. Is it a bad life? Let's be honest. Look at O.J. Simpson's life. He's experienced everything. He's really experienced everything. Everything that the highs, the lows.
Yeah.
He cut off someone's head almost. He nearly decapitated somebody that he did not like, that he was angry at. Many of us, when you're angry, what do? You got to shove it deep down because you don't want to get fired. Some cunt walks into fucking Starbucks or wherever you're working, starts being demanding, and you want to throw hot coffee in her face. You want to scold her. You want to just see her, collapse like the witch in The Wizard of Oz. I'm melting. But she's not melting. She's burning because you threw coffee on her, and she's got at least second-degree burns on her face, and she's screaming. And her child is there, but her child isn't crying because the child is actually also kind of happy that the mother got it. And the child is kind of has that quizzical look on its face. Like, is this justice I'm witnessing? Is this my first experience with divine justice? This guy that just threw hot coffee in my bitch mother's face. But you can't do that, right? So you stuff it down, and then you drink, you smoke, you do whatever. People, you eat unhealthy. And you stuff it down, OJ walked in. He saw something going on
Mhm.
that he was not a fan of. And he made the choice to not stuff it down. He made the choice to take action. And listen, I don't know Nicole Brown Simpson. I did not know her. I did not know Ron Goldman. I was a child, and I lived in New York. And I do not condone murder. I want to say that because I think a lot of people listening right now are confused. And that's fine because life is confusing. And I think many people are starting to realize that these absolutes are not really serving us, to be honest. And I think we need to start re-examining these situations.
Mhm.
But what OJ did probably felt really good in the moment.
Right.
You know?
Mhm.
It probably felt really good in the moment to cut off their heads.
Yeah.
Now, immediately after, he probably was like, well, that was a lot. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That was too
He
much.
felt a little bad, but
And then
ending
he had
the
to
friendship.
go. Well, then you know, you start thinking about self-preservation. But what I'm saying is, let's just look at the life. Let's not focus in on any part of his life. Let's focus out and go, what a life. When he's on his deathbed, he could say, I've done it all. I got away with murder. I was a movie star. I was the toast of the town.
Mhm.
I mean,
He's a remarkable figure.
I got to be honest with you. I don't want to use the word hero because it is. And don't stop with the violence against women shit. He killed a guy too. Don't start with me with this. He killed a woman. What about Ron Goldman?
Yeah.
You look at Donald Trump. Crazy life. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. Been at the apex of a certain type of society. He was never like in the inner sanctum of New York society, but close enough. He was that new 80s, billionaire, mega, a business magnate that courted fame, like a wrestling heel. I think owned the Miss Universe pageant. Was it Miss Universe? Yeah, right?
Mhm.
I think Miss Universe owned multiple casinos. I mean, a truly extraordinary life. And again, and now the president of the United States. This isn't good or bad. I'm not looking at the morals of any of these situations. I'm just zooming out and I'm going, compared to the experiences that most people have on Earth. Okay.
Mhm.
If you were to have a museum of great lives, and I don't mean great in the sense of like they dedicated their lives to making the world a better place, but just great lives, like where you look at their life and go, oh shit,
That's awesome.
Donald Trump, O.J. Simpson, people like Cardi B,
Mhm.
who was a fucking stripper who was drugging people in Miami, some fucking guy that looked like me in a hotel room exactly like this, waking up going, where the fuck's my fucking gold card? And Cardi B was fucking cutting lines with it by the pool.
Mhm.
And now, she's, has had the number one song. I mean, these are wild lives. Jeffrey Epstein. You want to talk about a life? Let's talk about a life for a minute. Okay? Ran an international sex trafficking ring, a minor for children, not for children.
It was for children.
He was not for children. With children. He ran an international pedophile ring, sex trafficking ring, and he had some of the most wealthy, famous and wealthy people. The guy had multiple residences, multiple properties, had connections, had access, maybe worked for the CIA or the Mossad. Nobody knows. I will say this about Epstein, though. What I will say is, like, all you idiots that are like, oh, we worked for the Mossad. Yeah, it's very possible he worked for the Mossad. But are you telling me, and the Observer wrote some article about this where they're like, well, I bet it's, CIA wouldn't tolerate this. He's working. He was a spy, but we don't know what, who he was spying for. We don't know who he was spying for. So you're telling me that Jeffrey Epstein is compromising high-level U.S. politicians, people from all over the world. He's working with the Mossad, and the CIA has no fucking clue. A bunch of fat guys in Ohio with Wi-Fi who can get on Reddit seem to have a pretty good idea. But the Central Intelligence Agency's just got no fucking idea of what Jeffrey Epstein's doing. How stupid do you have to be to believe that? You know, anything to let this country off the hook. Anything, any logical jump. These people will jump through fucking hoops to just let this country off the hook and go, well, no, this is not our intelligence people. Our intelligence people are saving us from bad guys all over the world. They're not participating in this. They wouldn't dare. I mean, but that's the thing, man. I regret what I said. It was unfortunate. You got to move on. You got to get rid of friends. You got to get rid of close friends. You have to cancel your friends and family. It's so easy to cancel a stranger. So many people are like, oh, let's cancel this celebrity. You know, how about no, cancel your father. How about that? Okay. You want to be a tough guy? Cancel someone you love and you care about, but you realize they're not loving and serving you. That's what you need. You need people in your life that love you, but are also willing to serve you. Do you think I'm wrong about that?
No. I mean, it's funny to just say out loud, you know.
I don't know why it's funny to say out loud. I think because a lot of people believe truly that they are worth nothing and they're correct. And those people are, you know, they have a slave mentality, you know? That's why, like, I believe we should all have health insurance, but the reason I don't get on board with socialism is because, like, I look at people out there and I go, I don't really want to be associated with a lot of them. I feel like a lot of them shouldn't be here, but they are. And I don't mean in America, I mean on Earth. And I believe we should all have health insurance. I think we should all have some kind of social safety net. But I don't like collectivism. I don't embrace collectivism because I feel like many of the people on the planet simply shouldn't be. They're accidents. They're biological accidents that are here. They're breathing and they're taking up space and they're consuming resources. But what do they generate? They're not generating anything, you know? And then people say, oh, that's inhuman, blah, blah, blah. Go scratch, you know? It just, we need to go back to the times of radical individualism, where the way I feel, radical individualism is a concept where you would radically be an individual. And if you're really being an individual, you won't have a lot of friends. Your social circle will shrink if you start doing and saying the things you want. Don't worry. You will not get invited to places if you just put it out there. Now, the more and more you keep it in and you bottle it in, the more and more people are going to have you come. Because they want you to sit around and be like, oh, did you go to Anguilla? Did you go to Anguilla? Was it nice? I like. But if you go out there and you say things like, you know, why can't I fuck my cousin? Or you say things like, you know, I don't know why, but there's something comforting about OJ. There's something in his eyes that feels at peace. If you say that in mixed company, OJ's eyes are at peace. When you look at him, he feels like he's at peace. If you say things like that, the invitations are going to dry up. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to go along with everyone's horse shit. Find somebody to fuck, get a pet, have a friend or two, and then move the fuck on. Enough. Enough with cocktails after work. Nobody needs that. Sitting around with a bunch of people. Get out, get away. Leave society. And I think, I believe this is a message that many people don't, because everything is collective now. Everything's based on but nobody really feels that way. Everybody's pretending to care about other people, but nobody really does in their life, because they all go on Twitter and talk about how important it is that everybody has health care. But then their parents are rotting in some, you know, some home, or they haven't called their brother in 8 months, or they don't really give a shit about their nephews or nieces, or they're barely good to the people that live in their surrounding area, their neighbors. They don't care, but they put on this idea that they give a fuck about other people. No, I think it is very empowering and liberating to get out there and say, I believe that we shouldn't be fucked by these large corporations. We should have, kids should have food, They should. Not a lot of it. Not too much.
Yeah,
I mean, it's reality.
the right amount.
You give them a nutritious meal. They'd still be hungry. Here's the thing with all these kids that are hungry. If you gave them a nutritious meal, they'd still be hungry. Like if you gave a kid vegetables and a meat, they would still go to bed hungry with a headache like I do because they didn't get to have a whole cupcake the size of a basketball because that's what they're all used to. A lot of these kids are just used to eating fucking Fun Dip and, ketchup milkshakes. And then remember Michelle Obama? Michelle Obama tried to get these kids to eat healthy. There was a literal riot. There was a riot because she's like, how about you eat healthy? And then because kids start going insane because food and addiction to sugar, which a lot of people in this country have, I have it. If I don't have sugar, and this is why I'm trying to cut it out, but I get headaches. I start getting angry at people irrationally. I start getting angry at people that I haven't seen in forever. I start wishing horrible things happen to them.
Ending friendships.
Yes, but I also I'll lay in bed sometimes and I'll imagine someone getting killed. I'll imagine all the different ways that someone could die. And then I'll have a slice of flourless chocolate cake and I'll go, that guy's not a bad guy. Really? It's not that bad of a guy. But I will spend an inordinate amount of time imagining them dying and being like, yeah, that's good. Because I think when you detox from sugar and you start working out, I did the treadmill the other day, you gotta up your levels of compassion. Because when you're a fat slob, it's very easy to just have compassion because you're like, I'm a fat slob and everyone else is a fat slob and I don't care and I don't require anything. But if you're an in shape, fit person and you care about yourself, you walk around the world and sometimes you look at people that aren't caring about themselves. And I don't mean necessarily only in looks, but I mean in any way. And you just get angry at them. And you're like, these people don't have the level of discipline that I have. And it makes you angry, That's why a lot of those people that are in shape are like dicks. Because they're right. It just is what it is. It's like, so you got to do something that opens up your fucking, ability to be compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really do anything to stay in shape. Really, we're not really in shape. You're just thin.
I just take long walks.
Yeah.
I just kind of aimlessly wander around. I don't do anything on purpose.
Do you ever see yourself as a fit guy, like getting in the gym, building it up?
I hate changing out of clothes to go get sweaty and then have to take a shower
Right.
and get back in regular clothes and all that shit. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a whole lifestyle that you have to you do have to really just go wholeheartedly into.
You have to get addicted to it.
You got to get addicted.
Yeah, you have to make it where it's like, I feel terrible if I don't run 5 miles a day.
It's true, man. And a lot of people do. A lot of people, if they don't exercise, they feel like they haven't changed their clothes. They haven't showered. They feel like they haven't brushed their teeth. They feel incomplete. I want to be one of those people. I want to feel like that. And I want to have that relationship with my body. I feel like once I lose weight, I'll get cancer. I feel like that, once I lose weight, I'll immediately get cancer because my body won't know,
what's going on.
This is how powerful sugar is. Sometimes sugar will say in my own head, it'll go, I'm the only thing keeping you alive. And I'll believe it. I'll be like, you're probably right. Sugar will go, if you get rid of me, you're dead. You're not going to exist anymore. That's how tough it is, man. It's tough to change behavior. It's one of the hardest things in the world to do, to change your behavior. It's very tough. And that's why people don't succeed at what they want to do, is because they're unable to say to themselves, I have to change. And once I change, I got to kick all these people in my life out that haven't changed. And that's unfortunate, but you got to do it. It's like when you're a drug addict and you get sober, you don't go to a crack house. Can you imagine that? Imagine a sober guy still hanging out at the crack house, just looks nice. He's got new clothes, feels good. He just shows up to the crack house. He's like, hey guys, what are you doing? They're like, we're smoking a rock. That's what we do. And you sit on the couch, like, yeah, I remember that. and you're still trying to talk to them as they're all cracked out and twitching. And,
Yeah.
you're blending the money.
Mm-hmm. You're drinking milk, just trying to talk
You're
about the
drinking
weather.
a glass of milk. You're like, you guys want to go to a movie? They're like, what? No, we want to smoke more crack. We don't want to go to a movie. We don't want to change. You've changed. Now get the fuck out of here. Stop showing us what it's like on the other side. That's the thing. Kick them out. The people that aren't changing with you. Folks, we've talked about fucking, how important it is, because you really got to fuck your way into a better echelon of society. Most of you are not going to be able to do that with your own wits or talent. Fuck your way in there, I'm telling you. Okay? And you got to use Blue Chew, because Blue Chew is great. If you like sex, you'll love Blue Chew. It offers men a performance enhancement for the bedroom. Wouldn't you like to last longer and go extra rounds? Okay? Fuck your way up. Chewables can work faster than pills. That's what Blue Chew is. It's a chewable with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take it on a full or an empty stomach. Online physician consultation is free, cheaper than those other two, Viagra and Cialis. Okay? Takes a few minutes to connect with a BlueChew.com affiliated physician. If you qualify, you get prescribed online quickly. They want this in your mouth. They want you chewing this blue. Okay? Gives you confidence in bed every time. You and your partner will love it. You got to chew it and do it. I'm telling you. Most of you, some of you out there have nightmare lives. And the way to have a better life is to fuck your way into, and for a lot of you, you're not fucking your way into fucking the Rothschilds, but maybe you just fuck your way into somebody that has a house, 20 minutes outside of Cleveland. That's all most of you are going to get, but who gives a shit? You throw the dick to a girl who she inherited a little shitty house. Maybe a little shitty barn in upstate New York. You can live in that. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter, folks. Just sling that dick with confidence. You don't know who you'll end up with. Some chick whose grandmother's about to fucking stroke out and leave her a Mitsubishi Galant. You and her could live in it and smoke glass. I don't know. It's different for everybody. But if you don't fuck her good, you ain't getting that shit. Okay? Fuck your way into something. We got a great deal. BlueChew.com. Get your first order free when you use promo code TD. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BLUE Chew.com. Promo code TD. Easy. Goodbye. I don't know what to say. Marianne Williamson, man, she's hip to all this shit. She gets it. She fucking gets it, man. Marianne Williamson is fun to watch because I like the archetype of woman that she is somebody that I've met over and over again in my life. It's the mom who lets you smoke pot in her house.
Yeah.
But she'll also corner you and tell you about a ghost that she dated for a summer. It's the mom that'll talk about her spirit guides, while she sells you weed. That's the mom.
Yeah.
She just gets fucked up. And when she's having a good day, she's talking about spirits and, but when she's having a bad day, man, she's just spitting and cursing. Marianne Williamson, when she's having a bad day, is just walking around a beach, screaming at seagulls, screaming at birds. Because that's the other side of spirituality. People don't realize that. But once you're really open and you're letting everything in and you're having the full range of human experiences, once you really start to do that, there's also some real darkness that comes along with that, as there should be. And, we haven't seen that out of Marianne Williamson, but I would certainly like to.
Oh, I'd love to.
I would love to see her just smoking crack,
She is interesting, though. She seems like if she was president and, Mercury was in retrograde, she'd give everybody, paid vacation time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all get the month off.
She'd have an astrology-based foreign policy.
Yeah, exactly.
And good for her, man. I'm with it. I'm with rich white bitches talking nonsense. And I've always been with that. It's fun. They're fun to be around high. It's fun to be around people that have never set foot on planet Earth. It is so fun to be around people that have never set foot on planet Earth. They have no fucking idea of what they're talking about.
Yeah.
There was a great Woody Allen movie called Everybody Says I Love You, and it's a musical. And Goldie Hawn plays this, Upper East Side, Park Avenue liberal, or Upper West Side, wherever they live. They live in this, very wealthy area in Manhattan. And there's this great scene where she's giving a speech to the NYPD. And she's like, these prisoners need to design their own cells with European decorators, And she goes into this whole thing. And then they invite a guy that just gets out of prison to their house for a dinner party. And it's great. I'm not saying that Marianne Williamson's wrong about a lot of shit. I bet she's right about a lot of, she's talking about dark psychic forces and everything like that. Sure. But this Manichaean sense of good and evil that we need to shove everything into is terribly childish, This is like Lord of the Rings stuff. This isn't a rational way to approach the problems that we have. By her being like, there's the dark psychic force coming from the red states, and the blue states need to harness the power of the crystal. It's like, no, bitch. What we need to do is figure out what to do with the 60% of the workforce. It's going to be fucking irrelevant very soon. These problems are larger than just the reactions to them, okay? It's not just about psychic forces and good and evil. It's not the never-ending story. This is there's complex issues that where the answers are not inherently political. I don't believe that. I believe the answers are going to be maybe they're going to come out of the tech space, or they're going to come with new technology, or they're going to come with, I don't believe that somebody in Washington is going to be like, well, I figured it out. Because if you look at all the advancements and all the things that have changed your life, a lot of them have been not political. They've been technological. They've been, cultural. So I understand what Williamson is saying. She's like, let's not focus on these policy wonks, as she said in the debate, because Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are very, committed to plans and proposals, which is all necessary. And when what Marianne Williamson is saying is like, hey, man, it's about more than that. She's right. But what it's not about is drawing a line around a group of people and saying they're a dark psychic force. It's just not helpful. It's not helpful, Marianne. I know what you're trying to do. She's like, the racism and the bigotry. This is a drunk white chick at a party whose husband goes, haven't you had enough? And she's like, no, the racism and the bigotry. She goes, I was a dancer. I was a dancer as a girl. When I danced, people said I was like a bird on the stage. They go, Marianne, honey, why don't you eat something? And she goes, I'm not hungry. There's so much racism and bigotry. There's a dark psychic force coming, and we need to fight it with the energy in the water. I keep telling my husband about the energy, and he's got to look at his daughter and go, listen, your mother's a psychopath, She loves you, but she's mentally ill. And Marianne Williamson, that's why, the millennials love her and younger people love her, because she's a lot of fun. That's why we like Trump, because he's fun. People that have real ideas to solving our problems now, we don't even pay attention to them.
Yes.
We're like, oh, gay. We kind of just want, because it's an acceptance of, and I'm just going to spend a minute on this, folks, because I know people get upset. But it's an acceptance of, we know we're at the end now. We know that whatever's coming next will not be human.
Right.
We're good. Whatever's coming next will be post-human. This is the last dance of humanity. So we're just bringing in the characters. Send in the clowns, And I'm all for that. This is the last stand that we're making. Let's have fun. Let's have it be entertaining.
Right.
Have her win. I hope she wins. And there's a seance in the Oval Office, and everybody's got Harry Potter wands, and we're all waving them at each other. Who gives a fuck? We're in too deep. Math is not getting us out of this, potentially. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm all for her, man. I love that archetype of person. A white, privileged woman who's full of shit. I've gotten a lot of great drugs from these women. They have the best pills. They got good fucking drugs. And they care about everybody, except they don't want anyone in their yard or home, These racism and bigotry. 2 poached eggs, please. Josefina. 2 poached eggs. Make sure they're properly poached this time. I don't want to have to hit you again. The racism and the bigotry. She was talking about Flint, and she was talking about the other place. I forget where she lives. She's like, what happened in Flint would not have happened in my neighborhood, which is true and tragic, but it was just funny, just this recognition, you know?
Right.
What happened in Flint, we need to change things. I'm like, we do. We absolutely do. And Flint is a fucking disaster. But I'm all for it, man. Bring her on. Yeah, is it helpful that she's says, half of the country is demons? Probably not. But who gives a fuck?
That's that Hillary deplorables thing.
Yeah, I mean, Trump's the president. Do whatever you have to do to get rid of him. I think there's something to what she's saying. It's this Manichaean sense of good and evil. Everybody wants to be fighting a war. I don't know why everybody now can't find meaning in anything except combat. That's an interesting thing to think about. Why can't anyone find any meaning unless it's combative, unless you're beating someone else? It's not about you. It's not about individualism. That's what we talked about before. It's not about, the only person you're fighting is yourself. You got to beat the record that you set. It's none of that. It's none of that. We've destroyed that. Everything's about we've got to combat something. There's some outside influence that we need to fight. Every part of life is now political, which is what leads you to totalitarianism, by the way. Because if everything is political, what then happens is you have this, population of people that's completely incapable of seeing anything outside of the lens of politics. And then you lead yourself pretty quickly to a situation where you have the state, with its boot on your neck, and everything, whether it's art or everything in the public sphere, everything is message driven. They're all political messages, and it's fucking creepy, man. It becomes North Korea. It's like nobody wants to live in that. You look at every movie review, every album, everything. Everybody's trying to inject politics into everything. People don't know where this goes. They don't know where it leads. Yeah. I think it just leads to a place where the public sphere is just polluted with these empty political messages that suck. That's okay, because I'll just be smoking crack at Marianne Williamson and OJ. Why are these people in our lives? Why is OJ Simpson in our lives? Is he here to teach us something? Seriously. He's a fascinating person. I want to get him on the show. And I know a lot of people will be mad at me, but the people that will be mad at me for having him on the show will be people that are mad that he killed a woman. They don't care about Ron Goldman. They don't give a shit.
No.
If he only killed Ron Goldman, he'd have a show right now on VH1. Okay? But because he killed his wife, all the female comics that have kind of yelled at me for tweeting about him will be angry that he's on the show.
No one cares about the Jewish man.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, folks. Everybody in Edinburgh right now bombing. Good for you. I'm a big supporter of people taking their horrible acts and inflicting them on another country. I'm a huge supporter of that. And spending an inordinate amount of money to bomb for 30 days straight in the Scottish Highlands. Good for you.
They don't cover any of the expenses to go?
Not when you're a loser. And I'm not talking to established people that are, killing it over there. I'm talking to, the people that think it's a good idea because they've been bombing in New York and LA. They think maybe it's a good idea to go perform on the moor in Scotland. That's going to change everything. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Okay? I've had enough. British comedy is different. They have a one-man show. They want a story arc. It's not just stand-up. They want an arc. They want it to say something. Beginning, middle, and an end. They want it to have, infrastructure, like a show. One of the best clubs I ever performed in was The Stand in Glasgow, Scotland, because it's a theater. Comedy there has its basis in theater. Comedy in America has its basis in circuses, Depression-era tent carnivals, and then eventually mafia-owned lounges and nightclubs. Stand-up comedy was kind of invented by the mafia, just another thing to put in the lounge while people were drinking. So America's more rough and tumble. The jokes are shorter. It's in and out. Britain, you get more space, and there's long periods without laughter, and people are really into that, which I kind of appreciate to an extent. I like the way that we do it here personally, but I can appreciate the way that they do it there too. And when you go to the stand in Glasgow, there's no drink service in the room. So the host will come on for 20 minutes, then you go up and you do 20. Host will come back on and do another 15, 20, and then somebody else comes up. Host will come back on, and then if you're headlining, you'll go up. But the show's like 2 hours long, and there's 50 intermissions after each act. People go drink at the bar, then they come back. So their full attention is on you. I'm in San Diego, and I'm performing last night, and I hear people going like, "What does that have cranberry in it? Is that cranberry?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm up here trying to do something. Can you shut up?" But that's, we're in the United States. So I'm kind of a fan of the idea of you go get hammered and then just sit the fuck down with your drinks and watch the show.
Yeah, I like that.
There's something really I like about that, and there's something interesting about it. But
it would just feel like a freedom being taken away from Americans, though, if that was to happen here. We'd be like upset by that.
Yeah, people have panic attacks if the waiter doesn't come to their table, because people need to know that a chicken finger will be delivered to their mouth, unless they'll have a panic attack. They won't be able to concentrate if their blood sugar is dropping. They want to know that they can get a chicken finger in their mouth, and they need to get some booze. It all goes back, man. Rugged individualism. If you, some people that listen to this show, I'm so proud of the way they live their lives. I sometimes I follow them back on Instagram, and I see them, and they've only got a few pictures up, and it's just them and their cat, or them in the woods with a gun. And I say, I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud that they've accepted that life is solitary, and that they really should be accountable only to themselves. And I'm very proud of them. Sometimes people that follow me have these large groups of friends, and they're always going on vacation, and I see through that. I know what it is. Stop it. Be like the man with 3 photos, one of an emaciated cat and one of him in the woods with a gun, and the quote, "I'm ready." I don't know what he's ready for, but he says, "I'm ready." It's probably, I don't know, but that to me, just a nice quote that says, "I'm ready." Just a guy in the woods with a gun. He's just waiting. Wix. Fucking get a website, losers. With Wix, you can start from scratch. Choose over 500 stunning templates. It has the most innovative drag-and-drop website builder, so you can easily customize your site and add text, images, videos, whatever you want. You can even build your site using Wix ADI, Artificial Design Intelligence. A few simple questions. That's all you need. You can answer them. And then you and your business and Wix will create a stunning website for you. No, you or your business are who the questions are about. You will not create the website. The robot, alien, AI will create the website. You just sit on your fat ass and put all the work into the business, okay? We built timdillonsgoingtohell.com using Wix. It was so easy to do. TIMDillon, DILLONS, goingtohell.com. And if the producers that I work with built it, it's easy because they're brain dead crack addicts. So if those people are able to build a website, let me tell you right now, you will too. So if you have business or content you want to promote, you need a professional website, okay? If everyone that I've worked with in this business has been dumber than the last person I've worked with in this business, okay? If I had anybody that could support me in the way that I needed to be, I'd be Kevin fucking Hart. But the reason I'm not is because I'm literally always dealing with mongoloids, literal mongoloids. And I know you're not supposed to say that anymore, but that's fucking what these people are. They are dead-eyed retards that look like they're on a steady diet of paint chips and Flint water, and they fucking barely make sounds. They bark like a sea lion. They're, and they're on drugs, and the drugs are the only thing that keep them kind of sane, because their minds are melted. They're stupid people. Okay? They're pointless cretins. Nobody uses that word enough. Cretins. They're carnival barkers. Okay? They're dog people. Not in like they like dogs, like they are dogs. They're dumber than dogs. All of the people in the business that I've worked with, So if they can build a site using Wix, you can too. And if you click the link at the bottom of timdillonsgoingtohell.com, DILLONS, goingtohell.com, which will give you 10% off any premium plan. And by the way, I messaged all you fuckers that I said, will you like to come on? You know, none of you messaged me about promoting your shit on Wix, about promoting your shit on the show. You know, I guess you lost interest in it. That's totally fine. But, or you didn't lose interest in it, whatever it was. I'm telling you right now, you got your premium plans upgraded. I said I was going to give you 3 minutes. I still will give you 3 minutes if you contact me and we'll set it up. But I know one of you guys, you're like a band, you're on tour. Listen, I don't give a fuck. So, you know, figure it out. Okay? Wix, anyone can build a website using Wix. Even people that should legally not have a business. Even did they refill, Ben, that? Did they give me another Rice Krispie treat in that little thing? Or no? Okay. Go to Wix, folks. Cut the shit. We're in like the weird calm before the storm, you know, because there's not going to be a storm. There is no war. You know, the world will end in a very, like, it'll just be long and drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
Things will just get worse and worse and worse, little by little.
Trump gets elected again. You think he starts a war?
It's hard to say if he starts a war or not. I mean, John Bolton's in there really trying to push Iran. The neocons never really gave up power. They just morph. And by the way, neocon, neoliberal, it's all the same thing. It's just war profiteers. That's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So when Bush left office, they grabbed John Brennan and they grabbed, you know, people that were influential in the CIA and people that were influential in the Defense Department. And they pushed, you know, what they always push, eternal conflict. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Obama's out. Now Trump's in. So they start sending in people and they have Kushner's ear because Kushner's probably a little bit more sympathetic to some of their causes than Trump. So, and he just may be, I guess, you know, somewhat more agreeable than Trump as a personality. So they're kind of going at Ivanka, going at Jared. And, you know, John Bolton is in there. There are people in there that they just want more war and more war. And that seems to be, and again, a lot of it is, these are people whose bottom line is, you know, affected greatly by how much conflict there is on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So the more that there is, the more money that they make. And so in order to justify that in their own heads, and I've spoke to some of these people, they tend to believe that without America inserting itself into every problem, the world would be much worse off. And that's where they all go to sleep at night, by saying we're the American empire. These people don't have the self-awareness. Like, you'd almost imagine that they'd be like yucking it up. Like, I can't believe it. We got ourselves in another war. Like, that's not the way they believe. They actually believe very much in, after the fall of the Soviet Union, they believe that America, being the only superpower, has a responsibility to impose, you know, law on the rest of the planet. But that law, what that law really is protecting American trade routes and protecting future American markets for American goods and services and protecting multinational corporations. You know, we're not talking about law like freedom of speech and freedom of association and the rule of law and things like that are all, you know, a positive to try to introduce into a society. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the ability of American businesses and multinational corporations to do whatever the fuck they want, which is why they all hate these countries that don't allow that. Russia, North Korea. I mean, obviously, North Korea is a contemptible state. Russia does a lot of fucked up things. But the reason that we like Saudi Arabia, for example, they're our pals. They come for the barbecue. There's Prince Bandar eating Q with the bushes. This pork is so tender. They are lopping the heads off of gay people over there.
Mm-hmm.
They're chopping off hands. They're beating women with sticks. But we don't care. And their leaders come over here to have a hoedown. They're having a hoedown with the Bushes. But we look at Vladimir Putin like he's Voldemort. And the reason for that is because we're eating with Saudi Arabia. We're making money with them. It is what it is, folks. I'm tired of explaining. You should know that. It doesn't mean you have to hate America. I love America. America's a great country. We've done some fucked up shit, but I don't think America is the CIA. I think America's, these retards in San Diego that all bought tickets to come see my show. They're eating guacamole and watching seals fuck, I think America is my producer, Ben, a good-looking but brain-dead person who literally walks around, doesn't know where he is half the time. He's good-looking and stupid. Is there a better combination to be, by the way? That's what San Diego is. Good-looking, stupid people have it all.
Yeah.
Okay, because they don't know what they don't know. And everything, being good-looking, you're connected with your body. You're like, oh, here's my big dick, and I'm good-looking, and blah, blah, blah. And you don't have to really think too deeply about anything else because that gets in the way, Really does. I mean, I'm very excited to do an episode coming up at the end of August where we're going to teach kids in school how to be popular because many kids are not popular in school and they're therefore going in and shooting these schools up or they're going even